one coming for you. Coming back live to you 2023. We bringing you nothing but the best. 9 on the Grind TV. From the front seat. Oh, we can't fight the feeling, yo. We got today the man, the myth, the legend, music producer, bass player, stomp foot, funk extraordinaire. We got Jerry Wizard is with us. So you know how we do in California. It's early, but get the funk up. New York, where you at? Jersey, you heard? Delaware, Pennsylvania, Bay Shore, Long Island, Staten Island. Come on. 2023. Ohio. What's up, Lucy? What's up, Patty? What's up, Brenda? Woo! Feeling good today. What's up, my baby boo? Overachiever, you know I love you. Woo! Where was we at? Oh, yeah. North and South Carolina. Virginia. Georgia. Florida. New Orleans. Oklahoma. West Virginia. Minneapolis. Up in Detroit. Nevada, Utah, North and South Dakota, Puerto Rico, where you at? Jerry Shay's in the house and we hide from the front seat. My producer, Mr. Markley, back there behind the glass, keeping it funky, keeping it fast. We can't fight the feeling in Hawaii, Tokyo, I'm Young Haseyo, Japan, Germany, China, Ukraine, we love you, Haiti, Africa, Dubai, we got you, Egypt, over there in Ireland, thank you, Elizabeth, DJ Cocolino in Italy, I love you, woo, Carmen in Australia, I love you, Wendy, I love you, we love all that funk around the world, Baltimore, DMV, Washington, D.C., Chocolate City, Funky Philadelphia, Brooks, I got you. Y'all tune in on the chat line. Keep it active. Jerry Shay's with us. Everybody clap your hands like this. Come on. Come on. Oh. I hear you. I hear you. Where you at? Woo! Good God, I'm hyped today. First show of 2023. God is good, y'all. Funk from the front seat. 9 on the Grind TV. We're bringing you not the tree, but we're bringing you the root of the tree today. We can't fight that feeling. Wizard is in the house. He flew in on his magic carpet today to hang with us from his planet. Feels so good. We love y'all out there. You know we about peace, love, and harmony. We're going to get this show started. I told y'all I was bringing y'all the goods in 2023. We're going to step it all the way up live, y'all. We love you out there. If you got a birthday, we love you. Anniversary, love you. If somebody transitioned on, we got you too. And don't forget, it's about peace, love, and harmony. Today's guest is a world-renowned, extraordinary music producer, bass player, visionary, innovator. There are so many accolades and names we could give this brother, but we know him as the Wizard. Without further ado, Funk from the Front Seat, on behalf of my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, 9 on the Grind TV, is proud, honored, and hyped to the max to bring you Jerry Wizard Shays in the house today. Woo! It's hot. Good God.
Damn, Zach, you know how to wake a motherfucker up.
Damn right. You taught me that. You said when you hit the stage, stomp them. And I learned that from you, my brother. How you doing?
I am good. You know, the weather's good out here. It's been raining in California for the last week.
Mm-hmm.
The rain is nothing compared to the cold and everything. But life is good. I mean, you know, I've been going through a lot of motion.
Mm-hmm.
There's no complaints. I love
that's
life.
Beautiful, man.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to tell the audience, you and I periodically touch base, you know, and I've been knowing you for years, but, you know, when you were down here and y'all were performing and we opened up for you, I was telling people that was, and I opened up for a lot of people played, you know.
And what year was this? Wait,
I'm saying that was the highlight of my thing, opening up for you.
What year was this?
Oh, what year? It was like 4 years ago at the Lincoln.
Okay.
Y'all did the Lincoln, and we put that band together, and I was talking to you, and my bass player got jealous because I told him I knew you from 1977 when I got kicked from backstage at the other Lincoln in New York.
Well, why is he jealous?
Because he wanted to talk to you about bass stuff, and I was talking to you about the Lincoln in New York where y'all stomped with Larry Graham.
Oh, man. I wrote about that gig. Man, that gig. Playing with Larry Graham. Larry is my hero. When I was a kid, I watched Sly and the Family Stone. It was on a network TV show. This was in the late 60s. I mean, maybe this was 19. Yeah, no, it had to be the 60s because I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Larry Graham playing. They had the camera under him, looking up at him, and his nostrils were flared because he was smelling the funk, and they was playing this groove. And I said, God, who is that? And that was my role model for how to groove.
Yeah.
You know, Larry rolled his sleeves up. He had his sleeves rolled up, and his nostrils was flared. And he was, I mean, you know, that brother is like, you know, he's the Hendrix to me from the bass world.
Yeah, yeah. Funny you say that because I wore my Hendrix shirt for you today.
Oh yeah, Jimmy.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. The question that a lot of people want to know, including myself, right?
Yeah.
Wizard. What's that about, and where'd that come from?
Whoa, that came from I'm from Miami. You know, I grew up in Miami. It's called the Magic City.
Right.
And when I first met Joyce, Glenn, and Mo, I just left high school. I was 17 years old, and we met in a very unorthodox way. But right around through the first 3 years of being together, we all started developing nicknames. And Glenn would always say, do some of that magic shit. And Doc was the first one to start calling me Wizard. And, you know, just from riffing and making sounds. And plus, you know, I would always claim to be from the Magic City. So, yeah.
That's deep because for all the years that I've known you, I never knew. And I told you when we talked, right? I was embarrassed. I was like, you know what? I only know him by Wizard. I didn't even know your first name was Jerry. So
it's a nickname, just like we got Mo.
Yeah.
And Wizard. Joyce, her name changed all the time. But it always came back to Joyce. But everybody else's name stuck, you know?
Yeah. Because I know they were calling the Baby G for a rap. Wasn't they calling Baby something? Yeah.
Like Baby G, Shout, Sing.
Yeah.
She has some killer Electric Peanut.
Yeah. You know, you've done so many projects recently. We're going to get into that. And again, we're hanging out graciously with, you know, Wizard today, Mr. Jerry Say from Cali. He was nice enough to get up early for us. I really appreciate you. So you guys stay active on the chat line and go back and watch this show. It's going to be all over the place at least 3 or 4 times today. But when you first were developing, you were one of the core foundations of that sound. Right. Yeah. And tell me a little bit about yourself and BB about how you guys developed that pocket, that groove that they laid on top of.
Well, Zach, it goes way back, dude. I mean, like, I'm writing a book right now, and the editor had me go all the way back to my birth.
Right.
So I actually went back. I actually Googled the birth year before I came into the world to see what was going on the planet before I came. And then I went through, but my life has always been about the groove. My mother and my father are musicians. I'm from a large family. Everybody plays an instrument. The first time I was able to walk, I remember walking down the hall. I would strum the guitar with my finger and gliss over the piano keys, and I would thump the bass. You know, that was just all I knew. These instruments were laying around, and you know, that was, I thought every kid had that opportunity.
Right.
Now that I grew up, I say, no, that was a special household, dude.
Yeah.
So my older brother Frank was an amazing guitar player in Miami, And whenever he played, it was always groove first. My father, whenever he played, it was always groove. My mother, she was, gospel music. Mahalia Jackson, Rosetta Tharpe, but it
Oh
was
God, yeah.
always about the feel and that thing that the music make you do. So that was my gauge about how to play. First of all, it had to make me feel a certain way. And like I played, man, MF went through so many drummers before we got to BB. By the time we got to BB, I think we were around 12 or 13 drummers deep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So I had to adapt to each one of these brothers that came into the band. We came to each other, but it was always something that was required. I put the work in to get that foundation, because that was the foundation, that's the floor, the bass and the drums. And it was all about giving Joyce and Glenn and Mo and Michael or whoever was in the band something to work on. So yeah, that was all I wanted to do, was make sure that that floor was there and it was solid.
Yeah.
So yeah, groove is the key to life.
Yeah. When I heard you perform, and I heard how loud you were, and I had worked my way to the front when I was 17. I was standing in front of people. I didn't really give a shit because I was like, oh, I'm gonna see these motherfuckers. Because the word MF was freaking me out as a kid. I was like, are they allowed to say that? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I guess they are. But
we wanted to call ourselves the motherfuckers.
I could, yeah.
But Joyce said we're gonna have a hard time trying to get some airplay with that name.
Right. Because let me tell you, y'all were motherfuckers. You guys were so intensely, cleanly loud. I had never heard that before. And I was standing in the corner by you, looking. You popped your G string, and bruh, you played the whole set with the G string hanging off. I was like, this guy is a wizard. Never forget that, bruh.
Well, Zach, as far as volume, in 1976, Mother's Finest played a Who tour.
Mm-hmm.
And it was with the original band, with Pete Townsend, Keith Moon, Johnny Whistle, and Roger Daltrey. You talking about Mother's Finest was a quiet band compared to the volume. When I saw the Who, the first show they played, for the first note they hit, it was so loud, but it was so pure and it was so regal. And they were bold with it and stuff. And that's how we learn a level of working the distortion.
Yeah.
I mean, playing with AC/DC, and I'm sure all of these brothers have hearing problems now. I know Townsend. I read an article about him. He can't hear shit.
Yeah.
And drummer from AC/DC. I remember sitting down in his kit, Phil Rudd.
Yeah.
Hit his bass drum. It was like a sonic boom. And then you hit the snare, and like a shotgun going through your head. And every night he's driving the band with that level of volume. And but we were young, and that was a joy.
Yeah. I think and you guys were the first multicultural funk rock band in the history of the world. Now,
well, that's what they say. I mean, Sly and the Family Stone influenced us greatly.
Yeah, and Funkadelic, right?
Not Funkadelic as much. We came out slightly right after Funkadelic. I mean, we were right on the coattail of Funkadelic.
Okay, right.
But Sly and the Family Stone, Hendrix,
yes,
and Sly and the Family Stone were the visible things for me growing up. It made me see that shit could work. And there was no. And plus, as a kid growing up in Miami, I played with multiracial bands all the time. A lot of Latinos, whites, blacks, and the people in South Florida, man, they all had a groove. Like, matter of fact, Jaco Pastorius. I met Jaco when I was 13 years old. He was 14. He was a year apart, and we used to go to the Fort Lauderdale scene and watch all the players. There was some amazing bass players in South Florida. We would go see John McIver, Napoleon. There was this one brother named Carlos Vega. He was a Cuban, but he used that muted sound that the guy from Tower of Power uses, Rocco. That really tight bass sound. But he was doing that like in 66, 67. I was watching these guys. So, we had amazing examples and amazing players, like internationally, from Trinidad, from Cuba, mainly from South America, coming over into Miami. So we were definitely multicultural as a society musically.
Yeah.
The music didn't have any problem with the racism and with coming together and being equal. But then when you got out into society, that was a whole other thing, of course.
Yeah.
The music role was always, if you got a groove and you can play, then let's do it.
Yeah. You guys, like most, like obviously, I'm influenced by you, of course. Hi, Mian. Hi, Brenda. Thank y'all for tuning in. Stay active, yo. We got the wizard right here. Let me tell you. So, you know what I'm saying? Don't get no better than this to start off. But yeah, that picking up from that Woodstock, pass the torch from Hendrix to Sly to you guys to the live festival, peace, love, and harmony thing, sustained the music business, and gave my age level something to look up to. Like, you were my hero. Bootsy was my hero. Sly, you guys were our Black heroes. And this is nothing against other races. We didn't have any.
You had to have them. You got to have someone that looks like you.
Yes.
Jimmy was it for me. When I saw Hendrix, I said, yeah, this was coming around the Chitlin circuit.
Yes.
And you got this brother that was like extraterrestrial and transsexual and he's galactic. He's writing about like the star constellations and shit. And I'm saying, okay, I see. I mean, he just raised the ceiling completely.
And then he set his shit on fire.
Right, and then he burned his shit up. Yeah.
Oh no, my boy, right?
Man, I talked to Peter Townsend about that when we were on the Who tour. We talked to Peter Townsend about when Hendrix came to town, when he first came to England, and he was saying that, like, he said he wasn't tight with Clapton and Beck or even Jimmy Page as much until Jimi Hendrix came to town. And then all of a sudden, the guitar players all had this summit. They say, "What are we gonna do about this motherfucker?"
Right.
And then you talking about. We were talking about volume earlier. They say Jimmy was the loudest motherfucker. And like the thing about Hendrix is like I got this digital box set that I bought. It's the Hendrix box set. It has all of his presets.
Mm-hmm.
Like for his sounds, and it shows you the sitting that he had. He was so unorthodox. He would use full bass and minimal treble, and he would like, the mid-range was like always in a place where you would never think. But then when you hear the sound, you say, damn, that's how you got that sound like on Axis Bold's Love, or that's how you got that sound like on Crosstown Traffic. And like it was, he approached EQ with a different ear. But his volume, the volume was always cranked, but it wasn't just like, piercing. It was something that got your body, that vibrated you from your ankles and shit.
Yeah. I know. I went to the Smithsonian this past summer, my first time there, to go see the Black History musical part. You're in there. I saw you.
My boots. Those are my boots.
I saw you, bro. The first thing I said when I came, I was like, where's that?
You know what Norwood Fisher told me? He said, Wizard, the reason why they got your boots in there is because you've been kicking ass for so many years.
Dude, you got ass prints all around the world, bro. I know, because I got one right here from years ago. So mine is still there. Trust me when I tell you. Yeah, man, when I saw that, first of all, it was nice to go up there.
Yes.
And, see that. I had never seen it, Mothership, this and that. And I saw you in there. And I said to myself, this brother here is one of the greatest ever. You're on my Mount Rushmore, man, and I'm grateful to have you as my big brother, my friend, mentor, and all of that, man. Bass player extraordinaire, Jerry Say Wizard is with us today on Funk from the Front Seat, not on the Grind TV. We're going to get into some of your new music, but I do want to hear about you had a Prince story for me before we get into your book. I want to hear about that Prince story.
Yeah, like when in the 80s, I played with Stevie Nicks. I did her Wild Heart tour. And for that record, Stevie co-wrote a song with Prince. Her single was called Stand Back, and it was a song she co-wrote with Prince. And Prince would come and hang out with her, And when I first saw Prince, it was really peculiar the way I met him at the supermarket. And I thought he was a Prince imposter until he smiled. And I said, damn, that's fucking Prince. And then he dashed off and jumped into a limousine and was gone. But we were touring around, and he would always look at me with a side eye. But when we played the show in Minneapolis, he walked up to me and he said, "Dude, I just realized that you're in Mother's Finest." And he said, "MF is one of my favorite bands." He said, "When I was in high school, I used to have you in my playlist and shit when I was doing my homework and shit." And I said, "Get out of here, dude." And we talked, and it was basically him talking. And he was telling me about Purple Rain. Purple Rain had just finished. He said, "I got a new movie coming out," and he said, "You're gonna love the music. You got to go see it." And you know, he was a huge MF fan. And then when he left, his bodyguard chick came over to me, and he said, "Man," he said, "I've never seen Prince talk so much." I just thought it was amazing that he was into MF.
Yo, everybody was, bro. It's like I had to order my albums from Audiophile because they didn't sell them in New York at first, you know.
Oh.
And I ordered 3. I think another Mother for You, but I know it was the original Mother's Finest, and then the live. I had to have it. I was not satisfied listening to Mother's Finest at the studio level, even though it was beautiful. But I needed to hear that ass kicking shit that y'all did. And my father used to come in, man, and be like, "Yo, you're shaking the house," because I ran it through my Ampeg. Yo, you wrote one of Mother's Finest biggest hits, "Baby Love."
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
That was about my girlfriend at the time, Connie Stepp. There is no other to compare to her. This woman she touched me in such a unique way. And she's from Florida. I used to always have to go back down there whenever I was off to see her. And those words came out as actually, I woke up early in the morning, one morning, and she was creeping on my mind, and I was burning for her touch. Yeah, I mean, you know, there is no other to compare to you. You got me blindly giving all I have to you. You give me feelings I can never find. These feelings ain't complete unless you're here all the time. And I heard that pong groove as I was singing it, and it came. But you know, like the original chorus is different from what's recorded. And I want to do it one day because it was a riff that the guitar and the bass played together, like in the chorus. And Tom Werman, the producer, when we did it, he said, "Let's separate the chorus from the guitar and bass." So I went to the kick drum, and Mo went to the keyboard, and they did the rhythm, and that's the way you hear it. But the song is real, and it's about true love. You know, young. I was 24, 25, and this woman, I would have married her, but I was scared of marriage, and
Yeah. I know. Like I said, man, you guys, the foundation, because of course it's about that foundation. You know, and as much as I love Mother's Finest, they don't roll like that without you in there, you know. And I mean, it's a blessing.
It's like we wouldn't roll without Joyce. We can't roll without Mo. I mean, we rolled without Mo for a bit, but it was not the same. It wasn't right. But yeah, I know probably more about the band than anybody because I'm deep down into it.
Yeah.
And I'm on the floor for almost every idea.
Yes.
So I know how everything's conceived. I know the rhythms and how shit's assigned to make it all come together. And like, you know, it's a simple thing. You know, Mother's Finest wasn't you know, there were so many unique bands. I mean, music is just a wonderful thing. The chemistry and the philosophy and the identity, those things were definitely locked in with MF. And once you have that in a sound, you have your unique sound. I mean, you know, everyone has a voice. Like just this past year, I worked with Kev Mo. I did the whole summer with Kev Mo. And it was such an experience. I went to another level working with Kev. Kev he know his voice so well, and he trusts his voice. And it's just a unique thing. It's not fantastic, but it's fantastic that he knows it. And people love him for it. We played around the world. And Kev's got people coming up asking for this song and that song. And I mean, his catalog is so amazing. I couldn't learn enough music with him because every night I got to learn a new song because people want to hear this and people want to hear that. Kev's probably got 12, 15 albums out. Wow. But playing with Kev and also with Kev Mo, I played the quietest I played since I left Miami. Kev doesn't like loud music. He likes for the melodic structure of in the groove of the song to do the work. A lot of times they play acoustic and stuff. And that was a revelation to me, to where I'm saying, I want to get back to that in my writing, to where, you strip it down to the bones. It's not about the volume. It's about the idea, and it's about the performance, the timbre of the voice. And so that's a wonderful thing.
I think when you mentioned some of your newer projects, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get your banner up and get how people can contact you and follow you. Mr. Lee, are you back to working on that banner for me, please, sir? He popped out. All right, he's gone. My producer pops in and out sometime. But we're gonna have you posted on my Facebook page and everything else, so we can actually follow you, and and people can kind of know. But in I think it was 2011. You were inducted, Mother's Finest, the group was inducted into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. Yes.
Alongside of greats like James and Ray.
I got to tell you about that induction. Yeah, but go ahead.
No. You tell me about the induction. That's why I brought it up. We good.
Okay. Well, one of the coolest things is Samuel L. Jackson was backstage.
Wow.
He had to induct Leon Redbone into the cinematography section of the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. And Samuel L. Jackson saw us. He walked up and he said, "How come y'all ain't playing Give You All the Love no more?" And then I'm looking at him and I said, "How you know that song?" And he said, "Man," he said, "I used to watch y'all." He went to Morehouse.
Right.
Him and Spike Lee used to see us when they were going to Morehouse. They used to come to the Atlanta clubs and they saw us play, like, even before we cut that first CBS record.
Mm-hmm.
But he was a fan, and I just thought that was amazing. That Sam was a fan. Yeah. But also that was inducted was Justin Bieber was there for a Vanguard Award, and what's her name? That beautiful black woman, Babyface produced.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I know you're talking. I can't call her name, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, she was inducted, and the woman from a different world, the sister, the light skinned sister, who man, I'm so bad with names, but like
me too.
Yeah, but it was star-studded backstage, and Alex Cooley, who's a promoter in the Southeast. He was responsible for every concert. He actually that the last Hendrix concert in the Southeast was done by Alex Cooley. And Alex Cooley would bring in the Beatles, or he brought in the Stones or Jethro. Everybody came through Alex Cooley. But when Alex Cooley heard we were being inducted, he came out of retirement to be the announcer. And he was kind of ill at that time. But he came from Florida, and he was the one that inducted MF into the Georgia Music Hall of Fame. And like you said, that's like Little Richard, that's like Ray Charles, that's like James Brown, Ray Price, the Allman Brothers. I mean, the list is staggering.
Yeah.
And it's I was very grateful.
Yeah.
Being there alongside these legendary MFs, Yeah.
And you're one yourself, so rightfully so. And today we're hanging out with Jerry Say, known as the Wizard, the anchor, the bottom beat, and all that good stuff for the, funk rock group Mother's Finest that we all grew up listening to. And, my producer, Mr. Mark Lee, back there. Right now, we're going to take a quick 5 seconds. Jerry, hang out with us. We want to shout out P-Funk Radio, and I'll do a couple of shout outs. On the other side, we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about your book. We're going to talk about the videos we get ready to show and what you got popping for the future. Yo, told you, like 23. Y'all hang out for us.
In the first P-Funk show we did together.
Who's that? Oh, yeah, and the first. That's okay, and that too. We'll do that. We'll start with that first. Mr. Mark, please, we ready back there, bro? Let's do that, bro.
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guests, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Yeah, brother. Thank you, Keith, for always pumping the music and supporting the show. And of course, HJ Entertainment, K&N Jams, P-Funk Radio. We love you guys. Oak City Music Collective down here. We love you guys. George the Funk Vinci, your artwork, Curtis Wilcox, Aquarius Rising Art. We love you guys. And also the Funk Chronicles Hall of Fame. We love you. And you guys keep spreading that funk out there. Keep supporting it. Keep supporting brothers like this brother. He is a pillar of the funk rock community. We stand on his shoulders. There'd be no nappy head funk army if it wasn't for brothers like him and Boots. I'm telling you right now, because we wouldn't have had the music to hear. So y'all gave us the roadmap, and we just gonna try to hold you up as best we can and do our part, man. And I tell you what, I don't like to put people on the spot, but yo, we gotta do a show with you. I always put it on the air so I can go back and say, I got you. we got to do a show together. We're going to do some stuff. We're hanging out. And you got a book. First we're going to talk about the first P-Funk show. Go ahead, bro.
Oh, yeah. This was in 70. It had to be 76. Late 76. We were signed to the same management. P-Funk and MF were the only bands of color, Lieber and Krebs. Lieber and Krebs had like Aerosmith and AC/DC, and they had Black Sabbath and Ted Nugent and like a rock, Blue Oyster Cult. And the only acts of color were P-Funk and Mother's Finest.
Wow.
And MF was touring the world, touring America, like with all of these rock acts. And then on the itinerary, the next gig, it says Parliament Funkadelic, P-Funk. And I said, damn. I said, okay, cool. And we played in North Carolina A&T. It was like complete black school. And like we had just the night before we played with Aerosmith in Detroit, and it was like all white faces. And then when we played at Carolina A&T, it was all smiling black faces. And like we kind of went into that gig thinking that we were gonna have to turn down and change up and shit. But when we played the first song, I mean, they loved it. It was like I said, okay. But I was really excited about meeting P-Funk. And like when we got there for soundcheck, they had finished and gone. But just before we went on, they showed up. And like, I figured they were there to check us out, because I would have done the same thing. And George Clinton walked in wearing a North Beach leather outfit that was to die for. North Beach leather was like the thing back in that time. And expensive. And, the tailor was extreme. And, I would say, oh, God, I was so jealous. I said, damn, this dude got. And then the whole band came in. They were looking so cool and everything. And so we went out and we played. We had a great set. We kicked ass, came back, did 2 fucking encores and shit. And then I said, okay, I want to see P-Funk. So I went I changed, and then I stepped out of my dressing room door. And then coming down the hall was George. He was wearing a pair of orange chicken feet, plastic chicken feet, and he had on a thong. And he put a sheet over his head. A hole was cut in the sheet for his head to stick through. And he was underneath was a thong, and on the front of the thong was a picture of the Roadrunner.
Right.
And that band was like, that was like Eddie Hazel was still in the band, and
wow.
And the bass singer,
Ray Davis.
Right, Ray Davis was there. Boogie was there. Jerome on drums. And I'm not even sure who was on keyboard.
Maybe Gary and Bernie.
No, this was before Bernie.
Wow. So
this was before Bernie.
Wow.
This was straight out of P-Funk. I mean, this is straight out of Funkadelic. This was straight out of Super Stupid.
Okay.
I mean, this was way back there.
Yeah.
They went on stage, and I was impressed with the Who. When I saw what P-Funk would do to an audience, George went on stage with that song, Call My Baby Pussy, Pussy, and everybody in the place was in jaw drop mode. And this groove was so hard, And then they went into an even harder groove, and Joyce would pull up his sheet, and he would show you his ass with his song, and he would turn around and show you the Road Runner. I mean, it was like an extraterrestrial circus.
Yes.
Those guys, that band, that was nothing. They got civil from that point on, because that was the point when they were just in shock mode. All they wanted to do was shock funk you, just like they have shock rock. They were shock funk, and they were definitely an element. They changed the world. But I've been seeing George Clinton at least every 2 or 3 years. We run into each other, and we never forget that first connection we had. They always respected MF, and of course we always respected P-Funk. But we did many tours. We did the Flashlight tour. We did the Mothership tour. We did the Chocolate City tour. And Bernie Worrell, God, that's my boy. I remember him when he first joined the band, and the guitar player Mike Hampton.
Mike's my guy, yeah.
Oh man, you can't touch that brother. He plays guitar like John Coltrane. He hears the guitar so uniquely.
Yeah.
But P-Funk, George Clinton, his super strength is surrounding himself with the baddest motherfuckers on the planet.
Yeah.
He's kind of like a Miles Davis, like these guys coming through his band, and they like on a level that up to the very top of the food chain.
Yeah, we just played with Mike at the Bethesda at the Funketeers Ball. I was fortunate. I was literally on the stage singing Knee Deep, and he's playing behind me with Tony Cameron and the Funk All Stars. And then I didn't leave the stage when he did Maggot Brain. I literally sat there on the drum riser. I wasn't leaving. Me and Tony was looking at each other. We were like, we whispered to each other. We looked like, can you fucking believe we're here watching Mike Hampton play Maggot Brain? And we're right next to him. It was like, boom, Mike is my guy. I call him, text him all the time.
Red Hot Mama, Scorpio. I love that brother.
He's my guy, man. He's my guy.
Yeah,
so tell us a little bit about this book you got coming out. That not really to tip it, but just what inspired you at this point in your career to go ahead and start writing this amazing journey that you share.
Well, I've been writing this book now. Actually writing for like 6 years.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
Yeah, I was and before that, I would write an excerpt, something just for my whatever, and I would put it aside. Like once I got my first laptop, and I would write, and I would just throw stuff aside. And then I got to the point where I say, I got all of these pieces and stuff, and I need to put this shit together. And also at the same time, I was working with a blues guy named Guitar Shorty. I actually produced two albums on Guitar Shorty, and I love that brother. He just passed away. Guitar Shorty. Jimi Hendrix used to go AWOL to see Guitar Shorty play.
Wow.
And Shorty married Hendrix's cousin, so there was a connection with those guys. But Hendrix's vibrato is Guitar Shorty.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's an album called We the People. That was the first album that I did with Guitar Shorty, and we actually won the Blues Contemporary Album of the Year in 2010, I think it was. But you can hear Shorty, and you hear the ghost of Jimmy in there. Shorty was probably about 7 or 8 years older than Jimmy would be right now. And it was a blessing to spend time with him. And we did 2 records, and it was the biggest time I've ever had.
My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, is a blues personified. Like, I know he gonna go ape shit when he comes on to ask you your question, because I give him one. Now, Mark, you're gonna have to keep that shit short, all right? But he's already chomping at the bit, because
David Tony, Guitar Shorty.
He knows. Yeah. Mark knows. Yeah,
right.
Man. So you're writing this book, and you got all your things together. When should we expect this to pop in?
This year for sure. I'm doing a soundtrack for the book. As I was doing this, every time I write, I was writing my story, there's been songs that I've written that I put on the shelf and I never released. And as I was writing this book, I felt like I was impregnated with these songs. I said, God, this just got to come out. And all of the songs that are going to be in this soundtrack have an amazing amount of meaning to my life.
Yeah.
You know, I was writing these songs from a place of necessity and you know, that's how that was my life's blood to live, you know. And I was really glad, like when I first had the idea, I said, okay, Warren, I need to think about a soundtrack. And then I just went through the book and I was saying, okay, that one's got to be there. Love and Control, Protection, Surface, Slaughterhouse, all of these things got to be in there. And like, you know, and it's just like a soundtrack for a movie. Like when you would think about what would be accompanying a scene, there's certain parts of the writing to where it's so dramatic and that song comes right in there, you know. But you know, like when I first started writing the book, I was gonna start at 17 when I came out of high school and I started my career. But the editor said, no, let's go back to the beginning.
Right.
And going back to the beginning was amazing. Like when I researched my birth year, it was the most UFO sightings in the history of this country.
Yes.
That was
what year was that? What year was it?
1952.
Okay.
There was this one incident called the Washington, D.C. incident.
Yes.
Where there were UFOs hovering over the White House and the Capitol.
Yes.
And they sent the Air Force sent airplanes there to intercept them. And when the planes got there, the objects disappeared. And then when the Air Force left, they came back. And it freaked the fuck out of America.
Yep.
And then that was in July. And then in November, we had the first hydrogen bomb was created by America, and there was a test blasting of the hydrogen bomb in the Indian Ocean. It was the biggest boom a human had ever created. And then it was a presidential year, and Eisenhower was a 4-star general. America wanted more stability. We was freaking because he was saying, "Fuck, extraterrestrials are coming. How you gonna fuck with them?" And then the NSA, you know, like it was just a lot of movement in the world. And then I came up in November, and I was born in Florida. And then I had to get into the whole Indian makeup of this country, because I was born in Opelika, Florida, which is Opatisawakalaka, which was a Seminole Indian village back when they owned everything, before the Spaniards came and took the land from them. And so my book took on this whole concept of the plight of the American Indian. When I moved to Atlanta, I realized that my grandma was part Cherokee. And then in the 80s, I worked with Ricky Medlock, who was Lakota Indian. And we played like in North and South Dakota and Wyoming. Ricky would take me to an Indian reservation, and it broke my heart into small little pieces when I saw how these people lived, and they owned this country. And it was all taken away. And, but my writing took a sidebar to the events of the world. Like I went through Kennedy assassination and into the Martin Luther King assassination, into the second Kennedy assassination. So just the events growing up, what shaped my moral compass about how to survive in the world and understand how mankind is. We have a lot of work to do, and we need to go forward as far as being humans. And instead of making shit to blow each other up, we should make things to generate more peace and love. I mean, you know, we just can't seem to figure that out.
Yeah, you know, and it's funny getting back to your book, because I'm getting comments on both things. So when you see me looking, I'm getting comments here and there, right? But one of the comments is that, you know, the soundtrack to your book and that's going to be amazing. And one of my fans popped in, my boo, and say, hey, that's so awesome. So she just wanted to say thank you for that, because not a lot of people are thinking in terms of that. But in terms of the UFO, I'm a hybrid myself. I'm an Anunnaki funk soldier. I was born in 58, the year they claimed rock and roll came through. And I've experienced so many things. And being of that ilk, the space child like you, like myself, this is why we all bond. And I think since COVID, the word 2020 hindsight and all this other bullshit, right? Like, our light workers now are coming together. We're all coming together, and we're here to spread peace, love, and harmony and get to that next transitional level. And brother, let me tell you something. You're one of the leading lights that we follow. You, Bootsy, Patty, George, Carlin, Mother's Finest, all the ones we stand on. It's you guys that we follow your light, and we appreciate.
I mean, like it was like Dick Gregory. I met Dick Gregory when I was very young, and that's when I turned vegetarian completely from talking to him, and definitely like all the love bands, the '60s. Coming up through the '60s, the kids were screaming about the Vietnam War. And all those songs that were written were about love and peace and coming together and seeing the real true value of human life instead of just going and killing somebody that you don't even know.
Amen.
How else did you do that? With your conscience was just too large to accept that. And so like all of those, and that's why that kind of compares to the necessity for me to write the soundtrack for my book, because I had the soundtrack in my life that was there. Those songs were being played as they were marching in the streets and trying to get things right. And
I got to tell you, man, first of all, we're hanging out with Wizard today, and I'm like a fanboy. I got to tell you. So right off the top, I'm psyched. But we're going to play a couple of vids that you sent for us. Mr. Markley, you ready back there, sir? We're going to run some stuff, man. And you just hang out with us, and I want my audience to enjoy. And let me tell you, this brother right here, Mount Rushmore. I know you're humble, but I'm gonna give you your flowers.
I graciously accept. Man, when it comes to there's so many. I know so many vicious bass players, and I don't even claim to. One of my favorites is Michelle and the Giocello. You know her?
Oh God, yes.
Wait, Zach, I got to tell you this story.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Joyce Kennedy had to do Women in Rock at Berkeley University. And Michelle was there, and Joyce was there, and Layla Hathaway, and a bunch of amazing sisters. But they had to play Truth to Set You Free. And Joyce told me that Michelle had a hard time playing the bass line. And I said, she had a hard time playing my shit. Because I studied her. And she is like, she's a guru.
Yeah, she is.
Those bass lines that she come up with, I mean, God, and the voice, the phrasing, the concept of the writing.
And yes, the consciousness, yes. If I wasn't your girlfriend, I was your girlfriend last night. When I heard that, I first thought that was P-Funk and Skeet playing bass on that.
That's right.
I was like, what? And then I saw her live. She's holding the bass and playing the keyboards. I said to myself, this too, Brutus?
Well, I also saw her with David Dyson. You know who David is?
Yeah.
David Dyson was playing bass with her. David Dyson is like a galactic player.
Yeah.
He's from another galaxy.
Yeah.
And like Michelle, for some reason, she wanted to have a bass player there so that she could be free to sing in front. But she had a bass with her. And David was playing, and I mean, he was killing this shit. And I said, damn, ain't no way anybody can play this shit any better. And then she would pick up the bass and play a song. And I said, damn.
Yeah, she
played much less, but it was way more effective.
Yeah. She's from your galaxy. She's from your planet. She's from there.
That's her touch and her understanding.
Yeah. And see all of this great music that we have today. And Mark, we're going to get to the video, so just hang out. But all the great music we have today, it comes from you guys, and I'm so I guess the word is honored and proud that I get to be a part of it and play it. But at the same time, I taught at the School of Rock for a while. And I told you the story on the phone. They wasn't going to fire me because I was one of the best teachers there. But I was teaching them about you, Jameis Jameson, Boogie, Skeet, Stanley Clark. You know, I was teaching them about the Cat and Zeppelin to play bass and foot keyboard.
If you know, want to get you the truth, you got to go there.
Yeah, and my manager and owner would get pissed at me, and because I ain't teaching the standard stuff. I would show them videos half my lesson. I said, look, go home and study this. Come back and then play that. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to perpetuate what you guys started. Believe me, we're not going to let that die off. You in good hands. My band, Tony Kim and the Funk All-Stars, Shirley Clinton, we got your back. Like I told Bootsy, we got your 6. It's not going anywhere because we got you. We got you, bro. We're going to pop up this video, Mr. Mark Lee, and then I'll get you on. Don't worry. Don't chew off the doorknob. Just hang out. I love you, Christy.
Damn.
Dude, bro. First of all, there ain't no words for that. I gotta tell you, my band, we tried to play this, couldn't play it.
I got to tell you something deep about that song. Little Richard came to our house in Atlanta. This was like 76 before we got that record. Little Richard showed up at our house at midnight in a limousine, looking like fucking Cinderella. His hair was perfect. He had on a lime green chiffon outfit embellished with rhinestones, and he had on a beige cape that the driver had to carry up the stairs so that it wouldn't touch the floor until he got into the living room, and he gently set it down. And we asked Richard what he wanted to drink, and he said, "I want tea." We had stories. And then we took him to the basement to play him some music we were working on. That's when we were writing Fire and Give You All the Love and stuff, and he loved it all. And I'm sitting there with Little Richard, and he's sitting there, the shit that we have created, and he was clapping and he was singing along with the gospel aspects. But we had a talk with him, and he said, "Yeah," he said, "you got to be yourself." He said, "The truth will set you free." He said, and so that song came from a conversation with him about his days when he was going from the church into rock and roll and then back and forth, teetering. He said, he said, "I heard God calling me, and I went back to the church, and I went back and I preached. And then he said, I heard the devil calling me, and I had to go back on stage and do my thing." Yeah. And
that's priceless. You heard God and the devil.
Was in our house, dude. And nothing had ever confirmed that my path was correct. Then that time I was sitting out here talking to Richard Penniman, and he's telling us stories about James Brown, when James Brown was pulling his coattail about how to sing, and
yeah, that's see, these stories on Funk from the Front Seat that y'all are hearing on the Grind TV, you only going to hear this here. So, right. You ain't hearing this nowhere else in the world. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay active. We're going to run the show again at 6. We're going to run it at 12 for our people overseas that watch us. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting the show. Please, please, please keep doing that, because we bring in the real. The truth will set you free. Mr. Mark Lee, we got another video, and then I'm going to bring you on, bro. We got one more for you? We got one more? Okay, just hang tough. Yes, just run that. And then Mark's going to come on because he's going to ask you about the gentleman you was talking about, Guitar Shorty. If I don't let Mark come on and ask this question, he will never speak to me again.
David Kearney is my boy. I would love to talk about him.
Yes. Okay, we got you. Yeah. The Wizard, y'all. Come on. Now. Funk from the Front.
Lord knows I tried.
Bruh.
That was some electric Nigerian.
No words, man. No words. I'm speechless, man.
You know what was so cool about that track is that's my brother playing on that track.
Yeah, we were going to get into him because I was going to mention that. I'm gonna bring Mark Lee on, but while Mark is coming on and muting his stuff, so other stuff behind him. But check this out. I know we was talking about your brother. A lot of people don't know he played drums. Your brother Harold played drums.
That's one of the instruments he played. Yeah.
Well, okay, one of the right. But I know you told me he played on "What You Won't Do for Love."
Yes,
one of my favorite tracks ever.
That's my brother Harold, the eternal groove of life. You know what was that broke my heart is when I heard that Freddie White passed away, the drummer from Earth, Wind and Fire.
Yes, we were going to acknowledge him at the end. Yes.
Okay, well, you know, like the connection that he has in his bloodline when he played with Verdine and Maurice, the genetics of the groove cannot be broken. I feel that same thing when I play with my brother Harold, and I have 4 other brothers that are guitar players, bass players, keyboards, and stuff. But when I play with Harold, I don't have to think. All I do, he just count it off, and the shit happens, and it's perfect. And I love that we didn't get a chance to play together as much. I sent you a Blackfoot track that Harold's on.
Mark, do you have that track, the Blackfoot track?
A Reckless Boy.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna run that. Yes.
Okay, yeah. You get to hear Harold on another side.
Okay, let's run that. Yeah, when you're ready, we'll run that.
Yeah. But my brother Harold, man, he is so talented. He's my youngest brother. Kills the bass, but on drums. Every time he would send me a track, you know, he played. He did a lot of Casey and the Sunshine Band recordings. He's from South Florida, but when he played when he told me about the Bobby Caldwell project, when I left Fort Lauderdale in 1971. Bobby Caldwell was playing with a band called Kathmandu, and he was a guitar player.
Yes.
And he was an acidic guitar. He played like Frank Zappa, Hendrix, and Terry Kath kind of combined. Bobby's hair was all the way down to his waist, so you never saw his face because he would just lean over and his hair was down. And he would just play this wicked electric guitar shit. So when Harold told me, he said, I just cut a record with Bobby Caldwell. I was looking for something shock, electric. And then it was, what you want to do for us? I said, hello. Homie made a 360, and I couldn't believe how smooth it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't even play, I don't even think he played guitar in that session. He just played keyboards.
Uh-huh.
But the voice, because, you know, he never sang with Kathmandu. The keyboard player was a singer.
Right.
Norm's guitar is out in Los Angeles. That's the guitar player from Kathmandu. I mean, the keyboard player from Kathmandu. But Harold, he made that track. He gave it life, you know.
Wow. Mark, you ready to run that track for us, brother? Let's run that.
Okay, brother. Boy, this was a whole nother adventure. And I'm
loving it, man. Funk from the Front Seat, 9 on the Grind TV 2023. We hitting you hard right out the gate on January. Here we go.
This is all American Indian.
I love it. I love it. Yo, this is, I'm in heaven right now. Let me tell you something, man. I'm sitting here. I'm about to lose my mind. I'm losing my shit over here. I ain't gonna even lie. First of all, I'm picturing myself, right? I'm texting with my audience. I'm looking at you. Right. Oh, and my boo gave me this beautiful present this morning, so I'm good. Mr. Mark Lee, my producer extraordinaire, works very hard back there. I got to bring you on. It's our first show of 2023. So thank you, brother. You've been my producer now for going on a little over 2 years. And for my audience out there, I want to thank you guys sincerely for supporting this show. We never thought it would go this long. Now we into almost our third year in May. Mr. Mark Lee, come on, pop on, man, and talk to this brother here.
All right.
All I got to say is you were dropping so much blues knowledge, and I was sitting there going like, "Oh, Zach got to get me on here because you're talking about Guitar Shorty, you talking about Kev Mo, you're talking about all these legends of the blues," and I'm sitting there going like, Zach could tell you just like he loves the funk, I love the blues, but I love all kinds of music. So Zach knew that I was going to be coming on. As soon as you dropped all them names, I was going like, this man probably played with Buddy Guy and BB King and all those other folks as well. But I got mad respect for Kev Mo and for Guitar Shorty and a number of those other names that you dropped, even Bobby Caldwell and a number of others. So you were dropping some serious knowledge, and I know that we've had the pleasure of having some of those artists play at the Hayti Heritage Center, which is actually where I'm working at right now, as well as the Bull Durham Blues Festival, which until recently, because of the whole pandemic and everything, has been out of pocket, but we're hoping it'll come back in 2023 or very soon, because it used to be a big time event outside and all in those lines. But definitely just glad to be here among such a true legend of music. And I just got to say music in general and all in that space. So one of the questions I've got to ask you, Wizard, because it's something that I brought up several times on the show as just in general, is if you could talk a little bit about the lineage and the importance of blues music, both to funk as well as to jazz and just music in general. So I'd love to hear your thoughts around the importance of the blues lineage.
It's a huge link in the chain. You know, it started like American music started, you know, like from slavery in the fields when they were at the end of the day, when you just needed some relief from getting your ass kicked and having to just work. You ain't getting paid and shit. The only joy that you got was to be able to play a groove and to clap and to something. And it started with that. And somebody got an instrument and started playing, and, you know, Lead Belly and all of that stuff that was back in the 30s when somebody found a microphone and they started recording. It started with just this unintelligible, you know, these lyrics, you know, Ebonics is what they used to say it was, because when the Africans came over here, they took their language away and they made you start speaking a different language. And then you couldn't really get a grip on it because you couldn't read about how it was properly done. So you made up your own meaning. And then those were the song lyrics of these first songs that we were hearing. And then it turned into gospel music because, like, you know, that was always a thing. Like, you know, you needed to talk to God. People needed to talk to God. And that was like the whole Christian thing. And then Wade in the Water, which turned into a slave map. It was telling you how to get to the Mason-Dixon line. I mean, it was so amazing. And I mean, people of color, so resourceful. I mean, you could beat them down, always find a way to stand up. Always find a way to go forward. I applaud, and not because I'm Black, but just because of the species. I mean, the shit that these people went through. When I went to the Smithsonian African American Museum, not just the music, but when you go down to the bottom floor at the beginning of the slave trade, and you take those steps all the way up to 2016, and you see the progress. And it was the way with music. First, it was started with like just a rhythm, so people could just move their bodies and stuff. And then it got into talking to God with gospel. And then it got a little devilish and turned into the blues, relationships and stuff. And then that got a little bit more intelligent. Like when Lead Belly was singing, you know, he was more intelligent with his lyrics, and his storytelling came into play. And then that turned into, you know, the John Lee Hooker. It was my favorite, John Lee Hooker. I've seen him live so many times. There's nothing like John Lee Hooker. And Zach, Michelle Nnajiaocello has got to be a descendant of John Lee Hooker.
Yes.
She has the same spirit when she performs about time stands still.
Yes.
And you are so in the moment.
Yes.
But anyway, that was the whole blues frontier. And then that turned into you know what was really amazing to me is how early jazz, like the Kind of Blue album by Miles Davis was cut in 1959.
Yeah.
I thought that was like in the late 60s, but that was like in the 50s. And all of a sudden these brothers came all the way from No Intelligence and blues and kind of rhythm and blues, and then jazz was created. But even before that, it was like Hot Joplin and what was that type of music like that? Ragtime. And that was like classical music, like the chordals they were using, the chord selection they were using and stuff. And so yeah, blues led into jazz, and jazz led into rock, because rhythm and blues and jazz was pretty much side by side. And then rock came into being. And then from rock, you know, you got your, and then funk came from hard rhythm and blues. And yeah, you know, it all just moves forward. But blues is the foundation.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Hey, Zach, just really quickly, do you think that we can ever get a Chitlin Circuit back again, Wizard? Because I know that was something that was very important to our success and things of that nature, was that whole notion of a Chitlin Circuit where small clubs and small venues would be the places that our music got going. And that was even in the funk realm and in the blues realm. But I was just wondering, do you think that we can ever get that Chitlin Circuit back in the 21st century?
Well, the Chitlin Circuit, the Chitlin Circuit was developed out of necessity. It was a place for Black performers to perform without having to deal with Jim Crow and getting lynched and shit, you know? That was the place you could go and play, like up the Eastern Seaboard and in the Midwest. And everybody, like Chuck Berry, Ray Charles, Hendrix, Little Richard, everybody did the Chitlin Circuit because those were the only gigs Black performers could perform. And like, so it was a necessity. I don't know if it'll ever come back. The necessity's got to be there for, you know, and hopefully humans aren't going to go backwards as far as the way we are, where we treat each other, where that's even going to be necessity. But I think the sense of pride that was taken from playing in the Chitlin Circuit, because these brothers were pissed because you had these white clubs that were like amazing, but they weren't allowed in there. So they just made their amazing music in the juke joint that was down the street. And come to find out that everybody wanted to come there because that was where the action was. It was, you know, it was the most spirited music being created.
Yep. I think, and thank you, Mark, for popping in. Producer Mr. Mark Lee Extraordinaire. Hang out with us for a minute, man. And we're hanging out with Jerry Say, you know, known as Wizard, and just that speaks for itself. And you guys been really blowing up the chat. I really appreciate that, man. Because see, the legacy of this brother, he's on Mount Rushmore. This is why I was very humbled and grateful to have him on my show and call him my big brother. And I know him, and I opened up for this brother. So right there, you know, that speaks volumes. And when we look at music today, myself, Kevin, Dr. Brooke, and all our circle, our full circle and my band, we're always talking about spiritual food, feeding people with the music. And today's artists, like, there was a banner for a funk fest and it had no funk artists on it. I got nothing against them, the artists that were on there, the Mary J. Bliges of the world, Bobby Browns, but they were calling it a funk fest. Funk has now been hijacked, the word.
Definitely.
And it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah,
it pisses me. It does. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a lover of all music. I listen to everything, classical, everything. But promoters have taken this and twisted it. So we have to give people spiritual food in this funk. Where do you see the future of funk music going?
Well, my children, my son, Laven Kali, Laven is up for 3 Grammys this February. He worked on the Beyonce record.
Okay.
he co-produced one song and co-wrote it with her, and then he co-wrote 2 other songs, and they're all up for Grammys. And Lavin's solo music. Lavin was in the crib when Lavin was 6 months old. He would watch me program music, and he would sit there like in the crib, you know, and just watch me. And he was always quiet because Lavin ended up going into golf. Like when Lavin was turned 9 years old, he loved Tiger Woods, and he started playing golf. And I used that, and I was a golf dad. Took my son all over. My son got a full golf scholarship.
Wow.
Into the university.
Wow.
He was that good. And then when he turned 18, he came to me one day and he said, "Dad, listen to this." And he played me some music. And I said, "Damn, that's bad." I said, "Who is that?" He said, "That's me." And I said, "Who's singing?" He said, "Me." I said, "Who's playing?" He said, "Me." I said, "You played everything?" He said, "Yeah." And then I said, Who wrote it?" He said, "I did." Lavin plays, his first instrument was trumpet, plays drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, sings perfect pitch. His mom's also a vocalist, keyboard player, perfect pitch. Both, and my daughter is coming up behind him. She's 19. She's at Brown University. I went to see Dayella on campus at Brown, and everybody knows her. We walk down the street. "Hey, Dayella." I said, "What the hell? You just been here. It's your first year here."
Yeah.
But it's a marvelous university. But the music that Dayella hears, she hears my funk, but she hears classical music, and she plays drums in a jazz band. And then she sings out front like Ella Fitzgerald.
Wow.
And then she could sit down with me. She loves to play Skin Tight by Ohio Players. And she's playing the drums and I'm playing the bass.
Right.
And I play brick for her. We play Duzik.
Yes. Duzik, yes.
Right. So you have to teach your children. You have to spread it, because if they don't get it from the library that
Amen.
we live, that you are, that I am, that you are, we're supposed to give that knowledge to our children and hopefully find a way for them to understand it. They don't have to take it all, but there's a lot of nuggets in there to make their lives better and to continue on with the flow of positive life, you know?
Amen.
And that's what funk is going to need. Funk is something, it's not going to die, because as soon as somebody hears the right groove, they're going to say, it makes your body do things that, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a physical reaction that touches your soul. And the best of every genre of music does that. You know, it gets you into your God within. And that's what funk is, connecting to your God within. You gotta have it. Man, some of those P-Funk shows that we did back in the 70s, it has never, I mean, you know, the whole spirit of a funk, man, and seeing an arena full of people, you know, and especially when you brought up the Chitlin Circuit, Mark, I describe in my book, I said, Parliament Funkadelic was a perfect expression of post-Chitlin Circuit freedom, because they were able to be the funk and nothing but the funk. That was a time when you couldn't do that in this country. But the road that was paved by Chuck Berry, Little Richard, there was this one guitar player, I forget his name, he used to play behind his neck. I mean, God, it's just my, but anyway, like, you know, the road that they paved gives us the freedom to live and to continue going forward. And that's what it's all about. I mean,
it is. I know I got 2 daughters. Kayla, shout out. She's at App State, so I love you. She's a freshman. My other daughter's a freshman in high school. And they know, like, I took them all the way back to Screaming Jay Hawkins, Howlin' Wolf, and I made them watch them docs, bro.
Wait. Howlin' Wolf. I played with Hubert Sumlin. Like up at up in Woodstock, New York, like Levon Helms, the drummer from the band. He has this barn, and he had this thing called the Midnight Ramble. And every weekend he would have all these great artists. Man, I was on a show with the keyboard player from Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, and Zach Offer was on drum. I mean, it was a star-studded band. But Hubert Sumlin came out. He had an oxygen tank because he was having respiratory problems, and he
Yes.
had the tube, and he had the thing connected to the tank. He pulled it out into the stage. He sit it there and sit on a stool, and they gave him his guitar, and they gave him a pick, and he slapped it away. And they counted the song off. And this brother had to be like, you know, because he passed away like about a year later. But I could not believe the spirit in him. As soon as he started playing, it was right in tune with the universe and God.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and like he was at Howlin' Wolf guy. He was telling us a story. He said when he first auditioned for Howlin' Wolf, he had a pick, and then Howlin' Wolf say, "Go and learn how to play with your hand, then come back."
Right.
And he came back, but that's Hubert Sumlin playing on Wayne Doodle, I mean, all of those, those Howlin' Wolf songs is Hubert Sumlin.
Yeah. Mark, can we get a banner up while we still chatting? But you know what, Wizard, like when PBS is such an underrated part of our educational system, right? Because they show doc PBS, PBS, and they when they showed the doc of Mahalia Jackson. Right. I was recorded on my VCR. I still got those tapes. Howlin' Wolf. I recorded every doc I could because I was like, you know, America, they're trying to teach stuff out of the kids. And people like yourself are trying to
believe this whole thing where they call it, they accuse you of being weird because you're awake.
Yes.
What the hell is wrong with that?
Yes.
You want to be awake and aware of everything that's going on. You don't want to be asleep and just not moving forward.
That's right. You know, and the world now is a much better place with what you guys did, and we're continuing. Like you said, funk ain't never going to die, but I keep pushing it hard because this is just who I am, you know, and I don't know no other way. And having guys like you in my life and your inspiration, you know, you inspire so many people just today being on the show, man. And this is going to be part one because we always do a 3-part series. So this is just part one. You'll come back when you have time. I know you get ready to go on tour and everything else.
You got to wait until I finish this book and then I want to talk again.
Yeah. We'll come back. But listen, every week we do a hero of the week. You know, it could be anybody, random, male, female, lady, black, white, whatever. But this week we honor you, Jerry Wizard Say. You're our Funk from the Front Seat hero of the week, and we appreciate everything you've ever done, everything you're about, your music, your family, the way you spread peace, love, and harmony, your vibe, everything about you, bro, is golden, and it's golden. And we got about 3 minutes left. We always give our guests the last word. We're going to give you the full screen. Mr. Markley, you have anything else for this brother before we jet up?
Hold on 1 second. I was trying to get the banner up.
No, you're good. You're good. You're working it. It's good. Don't worry. You're working it.
Now, I was definitely working that banner, trying to get that banner up and running for Mother's Finest and all in that space. But definitely, it's been an honor hearing the Wizard speak and all of that. And he was dropping some knowledge, and I agree with what he was saying about the education system, both you and Zach bringing that up, because I've been trying to figure out why we're complaining about people being woke, because we all want to be awake and everything during the course of the day. So that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever that they are making woke a bad thing in that sense and everything. So I guess one of the quick questions I've got to ask you is, I know Zach's very big on education and music education. Do you think that we're doing enough in our space around music education, and what can we do to make it better?
And we got one more song till we go run, so don't go nowhere.
You know, that's a loaded question, Mark. We have to do the best we can. Be creative like what you guys are doing right now. You can reach people, you know, groups of people, and make sure you give them vital information. I mean, you know, things that'll pull them in because, you know, times change, and I love to go with the times. I know it always leads because, like, with me writing my book, I see what I've done in my 6 decades on this planet, and it's always constant movement, and that's the way it's going to be from now on. So we have to be creative about how we make sure that the young people know not to be bamboozled and to listen to that thing inside of them and to have patience creating something beautiful that can last for a lifetime, and not just jump on something in the passing buck. And don't be afraid of being unique and different. You don't have to be like the next guy, you know. Just learn how to perfect you. And confidence and courage and all of that kind of stuff is what need to be instilled, especially in Black kids, because we've been beat down for so long. You just want to have a fair shot being able to present this God-given talent that's within.
Amen. Mark, we got one more video to run. We ain't gonna go just yet. Wizard, you can hang out like 5 more minutes. You got 5 more minutes for us?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Okay, we're gonna run. Then we're gonna let you go. I know it's Cali time. You were gracious enough to get up early, and believe me, bro,
I got up early, went to sleep late, but it's all good.
It's all good, man. You changed the world today once again. And so I thank you, Mark. Run that video for us, man. And we're gonna hang out, and then we're gonna give Mr. Say the last word on the big screen. Then we're gonna crank up the car, get in the front seat, and get the funk out. Yo, bro, believe it or not, I started this in my car, a 5-minute thing during COVID. And then people hit me up. I called my producer, Kevin, in Philly. I said, Kev, I got an idea for a show. And he said, yeah, man, let's work it. And I told him the title. He said, yeah, man. He said, that's going to work. He said, you got something there.
From the front seat. I'm glad I'm up here.
Yo, right. Mark, go ahead and hit that, bro.
With my arms in the air, trying to get your attention. And the sky's so blue, baby, where are you? You need to be right here. You need to be together. Have you cut the silver cord, baby? Cut the silver cord. And simply float away. To my soul. Come back, baby, come back. I need you right here with me, baby. Baby, come back. Baby, my arms in the air, still trying to get your attention. Did you forget to mention that we'd hang out today? But you're so far away. What's getting you down, baby? What's getting you down? What's keeping you around? Oh, yeah. All I can say is come back, baby, come back. Come back, baby. Come back, baby, come back. Back to my heart, to my soul. You right here with me, baby. It's plain to see you're very distant, about 1,000,000 miles away. I can hear it in the silence of the words you never say. About a universe away, girl. Can you feel my rapid heartbeat, baby? Hoping you're not gonna stay. I don't know what I've done wrong, baby. Please let me know. Whatever I can do to make you come on, baby. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. Now come on, baby. Come on, baby. Back to me.
I can't hear you.
Absolutely amazingly beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how me singing everything, and that song has meaning. That was relationship issues, and yeah, you know, music. I love writing a song when there's a meaning to it, and I've written, you know, like one thing about Mother's Finest I want to say is I was blessed to work with a male and a female singer. Joyce Kennedy is like the baddest bitch ever born. She sings, I mean, her voice is amazing. And then Glenn Murdoch, he's a character singer. He's like, you know, he's about society and cultural differences and everything. So it was so much fun growing up, being able to write a song and give it to Joyce and to give it to Glenn. And then as years went by, my son asked me one day, he said, "Dad, did you ever sing Leave with Mother's Finest?" And I said, no. I, you know, because I had two killer singers. And then I did that solo record the song you just heard. And then Laven heard a whole album of me singing so he could hear my voice. And he said, cool. He said, you need to do more of that. I said, okay. And, but yeah.
Yeah. You know what, man? It's like magical and wizardry and your spirit from the universe and the tribe that you are part of, that I'm blessed to be a part of. It doesn't get any better than this. And I got to tell you, man, you're my hero forever and ever and ever, man. Because
you're right here from my heart, my brother.
let me tell you, it's just after I'll call you in a couple of weeks and we'll chat about some other stuff.
Wait a minute, what's that on that hat?
Huh?
That hat, the logo on your hat.
Oh, this is from Afterglow 92416. And it's actually a tribute to Boogie Munson. It's Benevolent Funk, which is Donna Sneed, and Donna, you know, Donna Boogie's widow, and Otis Hawk down in Atlanta, Georgia. They market Boogie's products, and it's a foundation to help keep funk alive. But the foundation is in the name of the late great Boogie Monsoon, one of Harlem Funkadelic's, you know, bass players that laid down a lot of shit. So when I have them on the show, I always ask people to send me swag, right? And they sent me this hat. Yo, when Donna sent me a hat and 2 shirts, bro, I freaked the funk out. I was like, Boogie! The spirit. Because when I'm sitting here writing and this and that, I feel Prince. They come to me, Gary Scheider, Boogie Munson, and I always write my music from 12 o'clock to like 4 in the morning. That's my time.
Gary Scheider. When I first met Gary, I think we were the same age. And we were kindred spirits. I mean, we were from the same tribe. Except I would never wear that fucking diaper on stage. I couldn't pull it off. but Gary Scheider, this was in the early 2000s. I went skiing in Nevada. And we went down to the casino and it said, tonight, P-Funk. It was at one of was performing. So I got inside and I made my way all the way to the front of the stage. And Gary was still alive. And they were killing. And I mean, they were killing. And Gary saw me And for some reason, that's when I realized George Clinton is fucking blind. He was looking at me, and Gary came and he said, "Say, George, that's Wizard." And then George looked at me and he said, and he was like about 3 feet from me, and he couldn't figure out, he couldn't get my image. You know, he couldn't fucking see.
Yeah.
But like Gary was saying, that's Wizard. And that was the last time I saw Gary Scheider. And they were amazing. P-Funk was like, you know, the spirit of P-Funk. When they start playing, aura surrounds the room. And, you know, all the great bands have the same thing. Like when they perform, there's no competition with this. It's just their moment. You have to sit your ass down and deal with, you're in their world. And when they're finished, you have your turn. And I found that with AC/DC, with like P-Funk, with even the Commodores. Man, we did some amazing tours. Aerosmith. Yeah, you know, all of the bands that come from necessity, that aren't formulated bands. No, these bands came together because they heard a sound and they loved each other and they were attracted to the chemistry of each personality, and it made this thing.
Yes.
Aerosmith would never be the same without Joe Perry.
Yes.
That ingredient is so necessary. And the same thing like with the Stones or like with the Who or whatever, and the Beatles, for God's sake, all of these fucking great bands. The unique chemistry makes a sound. And you're fortunate to be a part of one if you can in a lifetime, you know?
Yeah. I tell you, I talked to Linda yesterday. I talked to Gary Scheider's widow, Linda Scheider. She's a regular on our show. And we get into music, we get into politics, but Linda's dope. She's my funk sister. I just talked to her yesterday.
Give her a shout out for me.
I will. I'll tell her. I just talked to her yesterday. You know, Linda and I talk, and we talk or text at least twice a week. At least twice a week. I talk to her. Now, Donna, she's always busy, but Donna will hit me up every now and then. I make sure she's okay, you know. But yeah, this hat, it means something. When I wear this hat out, I wear it with pride, bro. Because this is what it is. Man, oh man. Funk from the Front Seat, Not on the Grind TV. My producer, Mr. Mark Lee, I thank you so much. Jerry Wizard said, we're going to give you the full screen and say whatever you like. And, you know, then we're going to bring you back on and we're going to crank it back up and get out of here, man.
All right. What would I have to say about it? Just make sure that 2023 is going forward. We need better music, like what Mark was asking about what's happening with funk. The Chitlin Circuit is not coming back, but it's going to be another circuit that's going to be connecting us to each other. Yeah, I have a lot of music inside of me that I'm still creating. I'm being freed up after this pandemic, which was an amazing event in our lives. Yes, love. That's it, Zach. I think we've said it all.
Bro, I think we said it all. I think we've done it all. We're going to crank up the car. We're going to get out of here on this one because I know this there who I love dearly. And when you mentioned it, that was the first thing I thought about. So,
Funk from the Front Seat. We out. The Wizard was with us today, y'all. Enough said. California, wake up.
Thank you very much.
New York. Hawaii. Samoa. Doing the hungry. Ohio, Brenda, Mama Sandy, Beyond, Philadelphia, Brooks. Yeah, what up? Marie, clap your hands, come on, the world. I love you, Christy. My boo. The Wizard, y'all, come on.
Thank you very much.
New York, around the world. Come from the front seat. Woo! Hang on, y'all. Florida, you in the house.
Florida.
Italy, what's up with the business? Cocolino, you over there? Germany. Dubai. Come from the front seat, 9 on the Grind TV, every Saturday, 12 o'clock, 9 a.m. West Coast time, y'all. Oh my God. Man, it's all about the funk, bro. You brought it hard. The show is fire. We get ready to get out of here. I love you with all my heart. I'll be in touch in a couple of weeks, bro. Thank you from the bottom of our heart here, Funk from the Front Seat. All the fans watching, all the people around the world that will watch this later tonight. Man, we love you. You're an institution. You're a hero to us. We honor you. We respect you. We praise what you've done and what you're going to do. We follow in your light. Please keep lighting the way so we can follow Mount Rushmore, Jerry Say, Wizard Extraordinaire. We out, y'all. Mark, take us home. Peace.
Big love.
Man, let me tell you, bro.
Yes.
Let me tell you. It's special.
You got to put Wiz at wizard.net up there.
Okay, wizard.net. Hold on. Okay, hold it, Mark. We got to fix that.
WYZ.
And I'll tag it.
WYZ at WYZARD.net.
Got you. Mark, we'll fix that.
You can keep this one also.
Yeah. Okay, and we'll make sure we add that, and I'll tag that. Text that to me, and I'll tag that to my Facebook post when I thank you. Because I do a thank you on Facebook, and I'll tag it. Wizard.net. I'll find it, and I'll tag you. I got you, bro. I got you. We'll make sure.
And also Wizard Base on Instagram.
Got you. Okay. Wizard Base on Instagram and wizard.net. Got you.
Man,
and I'll tag them both.
They kicked me off Facebook about 5 years ago, and I could never get on again.
Yeah, really? That's crazy.
Yeah. I know. It's